and perhaps they have their IELTS test tomorrow, so they can click on this and watch this one. Awesome, cool, that's live on YouTube. Just let me turn off the sound when it comes on. So if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. My name is Jay. I am one of the teachers from e2language.com. Yes, we do online preparation for IELTS, PTE, OET, and soon we will be doing TOEFL as well. Come on, why isn't that working? Hello Deepak, hello Jagjit. Just give me 1 second to make this work. It's going to time out. It's very frustrating. In the meantime, let me get up my slides. Cool, all right. Just let me check. No, it's still not working. Hold on, got to get this live stream right. Right, timed out, so let me try it again. It usually works on the second time for some reason. Something's going on here. It's not happy. It's not happy. Okay, it looks like it's all good. Cool. All right. Looks like it's all rock and roll. It's all working now. Hello, Divya. Nice to see you. Good. All right. We're good to go. Fine. Cool. Thanks for coming along. As I said, my name is Jay. I'm one of the teachers at E2 Language. In this online class, we're going to look at IELTS reading super skills. Now, this will apply to both IELTS General and IELTS Academic, because what we're going to do is we're going to look at some fundamental skills, some strategies. And what we'll do first is we'll practice those strategies. Then at the end of the webinar, we'll do a little mini mock test, okay? And the level of difficulty is, well, it's probably between the General and the IELTS Academic, so it'll be good practice nonetheless. So skimming, scanning, and synonyms, you probably know this by now. We'll look at skimming first. Skimming applies to these question types. It applies to all of these. You need to learn how to skim to answer these questions. What is skimming? Well, skimming is a reading strategy that helps you get the main idea of a text or paragraph, right? One of the things in IELTS reading is that you have very limited time. So you need to use strategies to increase your efficiency. One of those ways is skimming. So this will save time because you don't have to read the whole text from top to bottom. In fact, when I did the IELTS, I did IELTS Academic and I got a 9 in reading. I did not read the text from beginning to end once. I just used these strategies actually. How do you skim? Well, you run your eyes very quickly over the first sentence of the paragraph. This is where the main ideas are located because the first sentence of the paragraph introduces the paragraph and tells you what the paragraph will be about. So instead of reading the entire paragraph and spending 3 minutes, you read the first sentence of the paragraph and spend about 15 seconds. It's a big time saver. Let's try it. I want you to tell me what the main idea of this paragraph is, just by reading the first sentence. Good. Well done, Fenghui. Good, Smaranika. Prudvi, I want you to check yours. It's too general. So it's not B. And Deepak, I want you to check yours because it's not quite right. Same as you, Mohammed. Check yours. There's one here that really says the same thing as the first sentence. Some of them are completely wrong. Some of them are close, but not quite. Some of them are too general, and some of them are too ambiguous. You don't really know. Cool, let's have a look. So if you just read the first sentence of that paragraph, it says, let me disappear again, it says, good news on the panda front. Turns out they're not quite as delicate and picky as thought. So they're not delicate or not scientific literature? No. Pandas? Well, it's about pandas, but it's not quite precise. This one's too general. Pandas are actually resilient. They're not delicate, resilient. That could be it. Pandas in China? No. Conventional wisdom about pandas? Well, as thought, could be, but it's too general. The answer is C. Pandas are actually resilient. So this says they're not delicate and picky. This says they're actually resilient, and actually is another way of saying as thought, or turns out, actually. There you go. So you've just learnt the first trick, which is to skim for the first sentence. So the main idea can be found at the start of the paragraph. Let's do a task. I want you to skim the text. In other words, read the first sentence and match each paragraph to its main idea. Now, I'm going to give you 1.5 minutes, so 30 seconds per question, okay? Let me get my stopwatch out. Okie dokie, ready? 30 seconds to find the answers here. Good, you have 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Just read the first sentence of the paragraph. Cool, well done, Prudvi. Well done, Divya. You finished in 1 minute, which is great. So this is the matching headings task. 20 seconds. Ten seconds. Good, Deepak. And stop. That's 1 minute and 30 seconds. So if you think about it, if you were to read all of this information and all of this and all of this, that would take you about 3 minutes, right? If you went analysis of DNA extracted from a fossil tooth recovered in southern Siberia confirmed that the, whoa, way too long. Okay, this is match headings. So to match the heading, you read the first sentence, then you match it to here. Just give me 1 second. Same here. All right, let's look at the answers. So let me disappear. So here we read analysis of DNA extracted from a fossil tooth, blah, 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 blah. Here, an ancient tooth gives a lot of way. So 1A, 1A. Then we read down here, the new research published today evaluates the relationship of a 33,000-year-old Siberian fossil to modern dogs and wolves based on DNA sequence, connecting dogs and wolves through DNA. So 2C. Human domestication of dogs predates the beginning of agriculture about 10,000 years ago, but when modern dogs emerged as a species distinct from wolves, it's still unclear. Tame old dogs, still unclear. Cool. Yes, they are the answers. Mohammed's happy about that one. Good. Excellent. Scanning. Right, so that was the first skill, skimming, reading the first sentence. Scanning, let's have a look. What is scanning? Scanning is looking for keywords in a passage. This is a critical skill for IELTS reading. All about keywords. All about keywords. Why should you do it? Well, it's helpful when you want to find specific information in a limited time. Which question types? It applies to all of these question types. How do you do it? Well, firstly, you identify keywords in the question. It's critical when you're doing like multiple choice question or any question is don't neglect the question itself. A lot of people worry about reading the passage, understanding the passage. But if you don't understand the question first, then you can't find the answer. So you have to read and understand the question first. Understand the question, then you go to the passage. Only after you've understood the question, because if you haven't understood the question, you cannot get it right, or it's guesswork. You find, after you've understood the question, you find corresponding keywords in the paragraph. You stop, you zoom in on that part of the paragraph, you read it carefully, then you go back and forth until you know the answer. It's clumsy, but this is the method. So let's try it. I want you to identify, first of all, before we look at the paragraph, identify keywords in the questions. In each of these questions, I want you to identify just 2 words, 2 keywords in each question, okay? Identify 2 keywords in each question. Whoops. So look at the questions, identify 2 keywords in each question. Good. Okay, it shouldn't take you too long. You should be able to look at this question 1, for example, and read it. What color seems to be the most reliable? What color seems to be the most reliable? So for me, color is key and reliable, the adjective, is key. Which color provokes ideas of male strength? So color, again, is key, and maybe male strength. Sorry, I said 2 words, but this one requires 3 keywords. So color, male strength. Being modern is associated with which color? So modern color, because you need some sort of concept in your mind. So what you want to do is like modern color. So you put that in your mind, then you go to the text and you're thinking modern color, and you're scanning, looking for that synonym, that keyword in the text. So these were my keywords. So reliable color or color reliable, color of male strength, and modern color, right? Good. I've understood the question. I have a concept that I can hold in my mind, like reliable color, because I can't memorize the entire question. I can't memorize what color seems to be the most reliable and then go to the text and think what color seems to be the most, what is it again? Reliable? Was that what it is? Too long, too difficult. Reliable color. That's how you do it. Right. Now I want you to find the corresponding keywords in the paragraph, because we found them in the question. Find them in the paragraph, and I want you to find the answers, okay? So please type in the answers. Good, Divya. Very fast. Well done. Good, Smaranika. Good. 10 seconds. Good, Fengmi. Well done. Right. Cool. So, step one, we look at the question and we read it and we understand it. But what we do with that question is we take some key concepts, some key words, reliable color, right? Reliable color. Then we go to the text and we try and find the same keyword or a synonym in the text. And you can see the word reliability, for example. And then we're looking color. Okay, we've found reliable. Then I need to find the color. So let's look at the answers. So what color seems to be the most reliable? Blue. There's the keyword. There's the color. What color or which color? Blue, reliable. Which color provokes ideas of male strength? So toughness, strength, there's a synonym. Masculinity, male, male toughness, male strength, masculine toughness, green. Green invoked perceptions of environmental friendliness, toughness, masculinity. Great. What about this one? Being modern. So I'm going to look modern, 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 modern. I'm scanning my eyes. Modernity, modernity. There's the noun. I've got the adjective here. Here's the noun. It's the synonym. And so we know that yellow invoked perceptions of fun and modernity or being modern, okay? Cool. Well done. In order to do that, and one thing that we can see here is that if we go back to this question type, here it says male strength. And here it doesn't say male strength, it says toughness. Toughness and strength are synonyms. Very rarely in IELTS will they use the same word in the question and the passage. More often than not, the words are going to be synonyms. So strength, toughness. Male, masculinity. Okay, so cool. So let's have a look at that. These are called synonyms, right? What are synonyms? Well, synonyms are different words with the same or similar meaning, like strength, toughness. Two different words, very similar, if not the same meaning. Or male and masculine, right? Little bit different meaning, but they're synonyms still. They're related. They're still similar. Why are they important? Because in IELTS reading, words will be used in the questions different to those in the passage. Let's do a task. I want you to find the synonyms. There are 10 of them: viewed, forth, channels, shot, discharge, middle, hitting, slanting, directly, and route or route. You need to look in here. They will follow the same. So this one will be located at the top. This one will be located at the bottom. Some will be very similar. Some will be not quite so similar. So go through and find these synonyms, please. Good, Divya. For channels. Okay, just leave that one. "30 seconds left. So please skim fast now. Look for the synonyms quickly. "15 seconds. "10 seconds. "3, 2, 1, and stop. Well done. Cool. I wanted to put you under a bit of pressure then because, as my colleague said the other day, pressure creates diamonds. Pressure creates diamonds. So maybe you need a bit of pressure. Cool. Let's look at the answers for each of these, okay? So viewed, seen. So in your question, for example, it will use the word viewed, but in the text, in the passage, it may use the word seen. These are synonyms. Fourth in the question, quadrant in the passage. Channels in the question, grooves or gashes in the passage. Shot, blasted. Discharge, radiate. Middle, center. Hitting, impacting, slanting, oblique, directly, straight on. Route, I've forgotten, let me move, trajectory. All right, cool. So they were the synonyms. What you need to be able to do is to when you're scanning that passage, okay, so you've got in your mind, let's go back to this one here, for example, directly. Okay, so in the question is the word directly, and then you need to go, okay, directly, directly, directly. You're looking blasted? No. Directly, directly, directly. Center? Direct, center? No. Constant? No. Impacted directly, straight on. Directly, straight on. Got it. So then you go back and forth and you answer that question, but you need to understand synonyms. This means that you need a large vocabulary because synonyms prove, if you understand synonyms, it proves that you have a large vocabulary. For example, you may know the word happy, right? It's one of the first words that you'll learn in English, but there are dozens of synonyms for happy, like joyous or ecstatic or gleeful, for example. These all mean similar things to happy. And as you build your vocabulary, you will just learn synonyms for adjectives like happy. Cool. So you need to build your vocabulary. Recap, skimming, scanning, and synonyms. Fine, we looked at that. Let's now do an IELTS reading mock test. This time we're going to do 3 different question types. We're going to do match information, We're going to do match sentence endings, and we're going to do sentence completion. So we're going to do 3 questions that we haven't done before. If you haven't seen them, actually, let me explain what I want you to do. Before you read the text, in fact, let me make myself a bit bigger so you can't read the text. Okay, questions 1 to 3. The passage has 3 paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, labeled A to C, A, B, C. Fine. Which paragraphs contain the following information? Okay, a molecular solution to a rubbery problem. This is very similar to matching headings, but this one's more sort of, you have to maybe read a bit more than the first sentence. So this one, you have to match a molecular solution to a rubbery problem. Is it A, B, or C, for example? The second lot of questions are, this is the matching sentence endings. So it says complete each sentence with the correct ending, A to E. So the new material can easily, abundant and cheap, about the pollution in the atmosphere. So you have to match this to one of these based on information in the paragraphs. Okay, and the third set of questions are sentence completion. So answer the questions below. How long have environmentalists been aware of the problem of scrap tires, for example? But you have to answer this from the passage, but choose no more than 2 words from the text for each answer, okay? So 2 words maximum. Use skimming, use scanning, and use your understanding of synonyms to answer these questions. I'm going to time you. I'm going to time you based on the fastest student. So whoever puts in the answers first, then I'm going to give you 1 minute from the fastest student. Cool. This will be fun. Ready? Okay, you have 1 minute. You may want to pay attention to this. "30 seconds. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and stop. 1 minute starting now. Twenty seconds. Three, two, one, and stop. Questions 8 to 10. One minute left. Thirty seconds left. Ten seconds. All right, and stop. Cool. Well done. Excellent. Good. Yeah, I hope that information, those strategies, those skills helped you while you were doing that. It should have helped, because that's what it's all about. It really is about skimming, scanning, and using your understanding of synonyms. Cool. All right, let's go through the answers now. So, blah, 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 blah. Very confusing. When you look at this question here, when you first look at it, you think, what is this? It's extremely confusing. One of the things about IELTS reading is you have to understand the question types. You need to understand the different question types, and there are a lot of them. Because on test day, you don't want to look at this and think, whoa, I don't understand. You want to look at this and go, right, I understand what this one is. Fine. So this is matching information. A molecular solution to a rubbery problem. Okay, so keywords in the question will be molecular and rubber for me. Molecular and rubber, and I'm going to... This one is not matching heading. Matching headings is the first sentence. This one you need to read a bit deeper, okay? This one you're using your scanning and you're thinking about molecular and rubber. molecular and rubber, molecular and rubber. Here we go. Molecule, molecular, molecule. Cool. All right. Fine. Anything about rubber? Yes, something about rubber here. Okay, good. So yes, I can, a molecular solution to a rubbery problem. Yes, C. Excellent. Let's do 2. Look at this one. A lot of people miss this. You may use any letter more than once. So I've used C here for number 1. I can use C again here for number 2. Be careful of that. Here it says you may use any letter more than once. The current solution is harming the atmosphere. It should be B, actually. Wait. Let me fix it. Being too smart. And let me check my other answer. Cool. Okay, got it right now. Don't freak out. I was wrong. B. There's the answer. B. Why? Because the current solution to harming the atmosphere. I'm going to keep this keyword atmosphere, solution and atmosphere. And I'm going to look. No, I can't see it in A. I'm looking through B. I'm looking through B, solution, atmosphere, solution, atmosphere, solution. Oh, here, pollutants in the air, atmosphere. The current solution is harming the atmosphere. Okay, burning the tires it has to be B, right? Yes. What about number 3? Now my rule applies about you may use any letter more than once. What happens to our disused tires here? Oh, they pile up in landfills. It could be that one. It could be A. I've just realized that. But hold on. Writing these questions sometimes is a little bit difficult, actually. And admittedly, I did this. Whoa, what's going on there? Hold on. Let me give you a hand here. Hold on. Just give me a second. Where did it go? Here it is. Cool. Sorry, I wrote this too quickly and I didn't check. It actually could be A or B. In IELTS, it's going to be one and it's going to be very clear which one it is. My mistake. If you had A or B, you could get this, because what happens to our disused tires? Let me disappear. Well, here it says, and I missed this, it says they pile up in landfills, have fed enormous toxic fires, harbor pests, and get burned for fuel. So get burned for fuel and pile up in landfills is the same as what happens to our disused tires. Here it also says it. It says thousands get stockpiled in landfills, blah, 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 blah. So it could be A or B. My apologies. If you had A or B, you are correct. Let's do this one. Hopefully I got this one right. The new material can easily be recycled. Right, so how do we do this one? First thing you want to do is just see if the sentence matches grammatically. The new material can easily, abundant, and cheap does not fit grammatically. The new material can easily about the pollution in the atmosphere does not fit grammatically. The new material can easily burn in cement kilns fits grammatically. The new material can easily be recycled fits grammatically. So we have two possibilities. The new material can easily, basic molecule does not fit. So we now have two options, C and D. Now we need to eliminate one and we need to find which one is correct. So the new material. Right, so I'm going to look carefully. Okay, I've got here materials. Where else have I got materials? Okay, let me disappear so I can look. I developed a new way to make synthetic rubber. Okay, Once this material, so new material, discarded, can be easily degraded back to its chemical building blocks and reused, recycled. Whoops, recycled. There we go. So number 1 must be D. Number 2, we'll do the same thing. Does it fit grammatically? Environmentalists are worried abundant and cheap does not fit grammatically. Environmentalists are worried about the pollution in the atmosphere does fit grammatically. So we've got one possibility. Environmentalists are worried burn in cement kilns does not. Environmentalists are worried be recycled. Environmentalists are worried a basic molecule. In fact, we've only got one that fits grammatically. Let's confirm whether it's right. So we've got pollution and atmosphere, and we saw this before. So environmentalists are worried about the pollution in the atmosphere. Environmentalists are concerned, worried, and then we've got pollutants, pollution, air, atmosphere. 2 is B. Finally, cyclopentene, here it is here, cyclopentene is abundant and cheap is possible, right? We've got one possible sentence, abundant and cheap. Cyclopentene is about the pollution in the atmosphere is possible, grammatically. Is burn? No. Is B? No. Is a basic molecule. We have 3 possibilities. So let's see this one here. Cyclopentene is abundant and cheap. Okay. So we know that this one is going to be in this paragraph here because there's the identical keyword. Okay. So it says cyclopentene is a low value yet major component of the abundant waste from petrochemical refining. So it does have the word abundant here. It says nothing about cheap. And it's saying that cyclopentene is a major component of the abundant waste. So the waste is abundant. It could also be abundant, but nothing about cheap. So we're going to move on. Cyclopentene is about the pollution in the atmosphere. Well, there's nothing mentioned here about cyclopentene. Cyclopentene is a basic molecule. Let's just confirm that. It says here, here. They started with a basic molecule called cyclopentene. 3 is E. Cool. Please type in your, no, we've got one more. We've got to answer short question. How, and this one you can answer in no more than 2 words. So 1 or 2 words maximum. How long have environmentalists been aware of the problem of scrap tires? So we're going to be looking for a time period. How long? So we look here, environmentalists, decades or 4 decades. You could write decades, or if you wrote 4 decades, that is also correct. Number 2, more than half of scrap tires end up becoming what? So we want to look for half or more than half or 50%. So I look here, no, it's not anything about more than half. Okay, let's keep reading. More than 1 tire, no. Thousands, well, no. More than half go on to become tire-derived fuel. Excellent. Now this, it says no more than 2 words, but hyphenated words count as 1 word. So this is actually 2 words because this one is connected. So tire-derived fuels is the answer to that one there. Number 3 has a good keyword, polypentamers. Polypentamers, polypentamers. So now we want to find out here, okay, polypentamers here. What are polypentamers similar to? They are similar to natural rubber. So if you had number 3, natural rubber, good stuff. Right, please type into the chat. This was out of 10. What score you got? I want to have a look at what score you got. I'm curious. I'm curious. Oops, someone got low value. No, low values becoming what? Divi got 8. Moser got 8. Divya, fuel or fuels, it would be fuel singular. What score did you get? What about on YouTube? What score did you get? Please type it in. Feng Hui got 7. Sudha got 8. Deepak got 6, so you need a bit of practice. That's fine. Cool. All right, let's go to Q&A because Deepak's got a good question. Before we do go to Q&A, I just want to tell you the reason why you should definitely think about upgrading and becoming a member of e2language.com, because you can complete all of the IELTS reading simulations. What we've done at e2language.com is we've recreated all of those question types, and we've given you methods like this class for each question type. We break it down, we tell you what it is, we tell you how to answer it, and then we give you heaps of practice. So if you're a free user at e2language.com, definitely think about upgrading your account so you can get access to all of this practice. Not only that, you'll also get one-on-one tutorials with the teacher, as well as written feedback on your speaking and writing, methods for the writing, methods for the speaking, methods for and practice listening, for example. Lots and lots of benefits to upgrading. Cool, let's go to Q&A. Right, first of all, Deepak's question. For all 3 question types, will we have the same paragraph always? No. In IELTS reading, there are usually, I think there are 3 texts. I'm just trying to remember here. There are 3 texts. Some of them will use the same text. What happens is the questions will be on one page and the text will be on the other. And so there might be 3 different question types for the one text. Now you'll do this question type and you work through. Then you'll do this question type and you may have to go work through again, answering a different question. And the 3rd question type, the same thing. But it will sort of follow the text down. Right, so Sudha, does not low value mean cheap? Oh, maybe I had a mistake there. So if you, yes, I may have made a mistake there. I apologize. I made this very quickly. I finished about 2 minutes before the webinar. So yes, that's possible. Divya asks, fuel or fuels? We usually think of fuel as a single object, a single thing. And so we say fuel, not fuels, because it's uncountable. Whoop, my answer had fuels apparently. Let's have a look. In here, was it fuels, was it? My apologies, maybe it was so the thing with countable and uncountable nouns is there's no fixed rule. It's like saying, let me think of an example, fruit or fruits, right? Sometimes we think about fruit as a singular one thing, but sometimes you will see the word fruits written as a plural. So sometimes the rule doesn't hold. Sometimes it can be either, which is a bit frustrating. All right, let's have a look at question number 2. Moza wants to see this, and so does Divya. All right, let's have a look. Let me disappear. Let's go through this one. More than half of scrap tires end up becoming what? All right. Thousands get stockpiled in landfills. So we're looking for the more than half one. So more than half go on to become, or in other words, end up becoming, tire-derived fuel is possible. What answer did you have? Oh, sorry, mine was a typo then. Yes, mine was a typo. Right, I see what you're going there. Mine was a typo. Let me get rid of that. There you go, tire-derived fuel. In fact, that's a good little lesson. You have to be very careful in IELTS because you may actually, you will, not may, you will lose points if your answer is ungrammatical. For example, Jamal, when I took the IELTS with Jamal, we were doing the reading and we had finished. And Jamal, I forget what the question was. It was a question about, the answer was hospitals, plural, right? More than one hospital. And Jamal had finished and she looked over at a girl who was sitting next to her, and the girl had written hospital, singular. So that girl would have gotten no points for that particular question. Yes, because marks are deducted. In other words, you will not get the mark if it's ungrammatical. So I would have missed that mark there for number 2 because I made a silly mistake of writing a plural noun instead of a singular noun. Cool, so be careful with that. Good. Any more questions before I continue embarrassing myself in front of you people? Any more questions? Nope. Cool. Good. Anyway, despite the errors in that one there, I hope that was helpful for you. I think a key to this one is practicing with good materials. That's really a key. Cool. All right. I'm going to leave it there. I'm tired. I'm going to go have some dinner. Thanks for coming along. I appreciate it. And yes, please come along next week. And there'll also be, I believe, a listening webinar tomorrow. What else is there? And come along to our core skills lessons. I think Jamal is giving a core skills lesson on vocabulary on Friday, pronunciation Monday, grammar Wednesday, IELTS lectures throughout the week. Yep, and if you're doing PTE as well, we do PTE and OET. So Deepak has asked, we have these sessions till March only? No, after March, we're going to change the times. So we'll be creating a new timetable for the live classes, but we will definitely let you know. Anyway, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.